Welcome to the You on the Camino de Santiago podcast. This podcast is for and about first-time pilgrims walking the pilgrimage routes in Spain, France, and Portugal. With your host, guide and longtime pilgrim, Nancy Reynolds of the Camino Experience. Here we are, back with part 2 of how to use the luggage transport services on the Camino Frances. I hope by dividing this episode into 2 parts, you are able to digest the information better and also spend some time thinking about how you will use the services for your Camino walk. This is Nancy back again, and in part 1, you got a sense of what services are available and which company might best fit your needs. In part 2, we will look at what your day-to-day routine will be. Then we will talk about what not to send in your transported bag or backpack. I will also give you some creative ways to use these services, and I will share how to transport luggage you don't need while you're walking all the way from Saint-Jean-Pied-du-Port to Santiago in one go. I'll wrap up this episode with something for you to consider if transporting your bag is the right way to go for you on your first Camino walk. Let's jump right in with step 3, setting up your daily routine. First, we'll look at when you're booking day-to-day and how that works. Each evening, you will need to choose where you are going the next day and where you will stay. Then, you get an envelope for the luggage transport company of your choice from the reception area of where you are staying and fill in your details. The envelope will have a place for your name, phone number, email address, destination village, town, or city, and the name of the place you are staying. Usually, there is also enough space somewhere where you can write a big gracias to thank your driver for their service. Next, put the money for the payment in the envelope and seal it up. Exact change is best. The drivers probably would make change if you wrote explicit instructions on the email, but I wouldn't ask that of them. If you have booked your entire journey in advance, you will have a label already attached to your bag. Once you know where you will be going the next day, you will need to let the company know. If you are using Hacotrans, this can be done using WhatsApp. The phone number will be on the envelope. Just be sure to get the correct number for the region you are in. When you send the WhatsApp message, introduce yourself by name and give the location where your bag will be picked up and where you want it to go the next day. Be sure to include the names of the village, town, or city, plus the name of your accommodations. Here is an example of what I write in the WhatsApp message. Hola, soy Nancy y tengo una maleta, that's a suitcase, or mochila, that's a backpack, para ir de Pensión Escaré en Pamplona a Albergue Camino del Perdón en Uterga. Gracias. Now, how did I get that? Easy. I typed in the English in Google Translate and then copied and pasted the Spanish into WhatsApp. Once you send your message, you can expect to get a confirmation message back within minutes or hours. The next morning by 8 a.m., attach the envelope to your bag using the rubber band or safety pin provided. Put your bag in the reception area or wherever your host has instructed you to put it. That could be in a closet or room, or even at the bar next door. I'll tell you though, once you get going with the service, you will notice that in the morning, you leave your bag in the same place you picked it up the afternoon before. Once your bag is in place, give it a wave, and then head out on the trail. Your bag will be delivered to your destination by 2:30 p.m., and often earlier. If your luggage transport is pre-booked by a tour company, you don't have to notify the transport company each day. They already have your itinerary and know to pick up your bag each day. The same holds true if you have prepaid or pre-booked your stages with CORREOS or another company. If you have prepaid with a company but are arranging your own stages day by day, then you will need to go to the CORREOS website or, if it's Hacotrans, send the WhatsApp message every day to enter in your next day's destination. You may be wondering, do you need to tip the driver? Tipping isn't the norm, but I'll tell you, if my bag is a little heavy, a little over the weight limit, I usually do add an extra euro to the envelope. There's no need to write a note. The drivers will assume it's a tip. Step 4, know what not to send. When you use the luggage transport services and send most of your belongings ahead for the day, you still need to carry with you a few important items in your day pack. You'll need to carry things that you'll need during the day. Water in a water bladder or water bottle, snacks or lunch, depending on how the towns are spaced out, a guidebook or your smartphone with a Camino app, a layer for warmth, and a layer for waterproof, meaning a poncho or jacket and rain pants. Do you always need to carry a layer for warmth? No. Some days you will know you don't by looking at the weather forecast or out the window. Do you always need your waterproofs? No. Some days you know it's not going to rain. The only exception is when you go over the Pyrenees from Saint-Jean-Pied-du-Port to Roncesvalles and when you go over the other 2 mountain passes on the Frances route. On those days, standard hiking wisdom says that it's prudent to carry a layer for warmth and your waterproof layer regardless of the weather. Conditions on the mountain can change unexpectedly, and you really don't want to be caught without sufficient clothing. Further, this won't happen, but if you were to get injured, you would want to have those items with you to protect you from the elements while you wait for help. If you were to get lost, which is uncommon and unlikely, you would want those items with you if you are stuck on the mountain overnight. Again, not going to happen. In addition to the things you know you will or might need during the day, there are a few other things not to send with your transported bag. Your passport, your credit and debit cards, your cash, any jewelry if it hasn't been left at home, which is recommended, any electronic devices, and medications. I recommend carrying with you in your day pack a 3-day supply of medications, which should be enough to get you to the next farmacia or pharmacy if your main bag were to go missing. Here's a note though, if you take medications that can't easily be replaced at a Spanish farmacia, you may want to carry all of your medications with you each day. And then carry with you anything that is truly irreplaceable. Let's go on to step 5, get creative. Now that you know how the luggage transport services work, let's look at some creative ways to use the services. The first one is what I call team transport. If you are traveling with a partner, friend, or intact group that is staying at the same place as you are every night of the trip, you may want to consider transporting a team bag. That means that each person carries their backpack, but the team, whether it's a couple, a duo, or a group, transports a shared bag. You would each offload some of your stuff into the team bag and send and pay for just that one bag, instead of sending and paying for multiple bags to be sent. Next idea, doubling up on distance. What if you get behind on your planned itinerary or you start to run out of time to complete the walk and you need to cover some extra ground one day? Sometimes pilgrims need to skip ahead by bus or taxi and then pick up walking 5 or 10 or 20 kilometers down the trail. That's no problem for your transported bag, as the transport companies can easily move your bag 2 stages. The cost will be the same as if you did it in 2 days, in other words, double, but the service and process will be the same. Next idea, offloading weight. What if you have a big day ahead of you, an extra long stage or a big mountain to climb, and you want to carry less for just that day? No problem. You can carry your backpack and also send some of your stuff ahead with the luggage transport service. They will take just about any type of bag as long as it can be mostly closed up and nothing is attached to the outside. A large, reusable grocery store shopping bag will even work. The cost is the same regardless of the size of the bag. Next idea, items left behind. This happens more than you might think. Something is left behind at the albergue or guest house, and you don't want to have to walk back to get it. You can contact the host where you stayed and ask if they will arrange for Yakotrans to deliver your item to where you are staying the next night, or, depending on the timing, even where you will be the night after that. At €7 a stage, it is likely to be cheaper than taking a taxi back for your items. Step number 6, lighten up. Many pilgrims aim to pack light when they walk the Camino and bring only what they will need while traveling to the trail, walking, and traveling back home. But what if you are traveling before or after your walk and you have extra things? Do you carry them the whole way? No need. There are several places in Santiago de Compostela that will store items for you while you walk, so you can pick them up when you finish. The question is, how do you get your stuff to these places? First option, CORREOS. If you are sending something from within Spain, you can use the Spanish postal service CORREOS to transfer a suitcase or other piece of luggage or a box filled with your extra items. Yes, that's the same CORREOS that transports bags stage by stage. If you are walking the Camino Frances from Saint-Jean-Pied-du-Port, the first CORREOS office you will come to is in the town of Berguete on your second or third day of walking. However, it's a tiny office with rather inconvenient opening hours, Monday through Friday mornings from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., so it's not really the best choice for sending your extra items or suitcase to Santiago. A better choice is the CORREOS office in Pamplona. Now, if you are passing through Pamplona on your way to Saint-Jean, you could visit the post office while you're there and send your luggage on to Santiago before you even start walking. If you aren't quite ready to post then, maybe you want to wait until you walk back from Saint-Jean to see if there's anything else you will want to post, you have a couple of choices. One option is to ask your hotel or guest house to store your bag for you while you go to Saint-Jean-Pied-du-Port and walk back. Then when you get back to Pamplona, you can go through all your stuff again and send everything you don't need. The other option is to take the bag with you to Saint-Jean, which I'll get to in a moment. If you are using CORREOS to send luggage or parcels to Santiago, there are 2 places you can send them. 1, the CORREOS office. To send something to yourself in Santiago, you address the parcel or luggage to your name and the word peregrino or peregrina if you're a woman, and the words Lista de Correos. That's the name for Spain's general delivery or post restante. I've got a link for you in the show notes that'll take you to a page on my website that has all of this information, but let me walk you through it. The cost to send something to the CORREOS office in Santiago includes postage and storage. The rate depends on the weight of the parcel or luggage and the number of days you want it stored. They will store up to 45 days. The costs range from €20.95 to €46.40. It used to be that the CORREOS office in Santiago had regular opening hours that didn't include weekends and holidays. That's changed though, and they are open 7 days a week with nice long hours, so it will be convenient to pick up your luggage or parcel when you get there. Now, I'm still not sure if they're open on holidays though. I tend to doubt it, but do double check that they will be open on the day you need to collect your luggage or parcel. The CORREOS website and the address for the CORREOS office in Santiago are in the show notes. The next option for sending items to Santiago is to send them to CASA IVAR. IVAR is famous for his online English language Camino forum and for his luggage storage service in Santiago. He has been doing this for years. To send items to CASA IVAR, you would visit any post office in Spain and post directly to his office. I've got that address and that information in the show notes. The cost of storage with CASA IVAR depends on the size of the parcel or luggage. Prices range from €15 to €35 to store for up to 90 days or even more, and that amount is payable when you pick up your item. IVAR's collection hours are not as extensive as those at the CORREOS office, so be sure to check that he will be open when you need to pick up your bag or parcel. He is open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. with a break for lunch, from 10 a.m. to noon on Saturdays, and for 30 minutes on Sunday evenings. That's from 7:30 in the evening to 8 p.m. There are fewer hours December through March. IVAR recently added a new service where he can arrange for your luggage to be shipped to him from the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and origins in Europe. Prices for that service start at 110 euros, and you can get all the details on his website, which is in the show notes. Now let's talk about shipping from Saint-Jean-Pied-du-Port. If you find yourself in Saint-Jean with an extra bag, you have a few choices for how to get it to Santiago. One, you can keep it with you until you get to Pamplona, where you'll reevaluate all your stuff, then send the extra stuff to Santiago using the CORREOS service. With this option, you would transport an extra bag day by day using luggage transport service until you reach Pamplona. By the time you get to Pamplona, you will have gone through your bag and backpack a few times, and you will know what you do and do not need to carry with you on the walk to Santiago. The stuff you don't need can go in the bag you send on. There are two ways to do this in Saint-Jean. The first is to take your luggage to the post office in Saint-Jean and post it to Santiago from there. The post office will have pre-made boxes available for sale that you can use to offload any items you don't need. Will they post luggage to Santiago? I think so. If they do, though, it could be quite expensive, and it will need to cross an international border, which could present customs challenges. Personally, I wouldn't even attempt this unless I spoke French, which I don't. So instead, I would recommend using the service provided by Express Co. Do you remember them from the last episode? They do stage-by-stage luggage transport from Saint-Jean to the first few stops within Spain. This is my favorite option for a few reasons. Express Co. transfers luggage from Saint-Jean to Santiago for a flat fee of 95 euros. That includes shipping and unlimited storage in Santiago at a central location with convenient opening hours. You can take your time walking because there is no extra charge for extra storage time. The maximum weight for this service is 20 kilos. Now, what happens if you just plain have too much stuff anywhere along the Camino? This is a bit off the luggage transport topic, but since we've been talking about sending stuff all the way to Santiago, let's cover this too. If at any time along your Camino journey you discover you are carrying too much stuff and you don't want to leave anything behind, you can visit any CORREOS office to buy a box and send your extra items either home or onto Santiago for pickup when you finish your walk. So far, I've been talking about sending items all the way to Santiago, but you can also use the CORREOS service to send items to yourself at key points along the trail, using their general delivery service, which, as I mentioned earlier, is called Lista de Correos. This is a good option if, for example, you have a supply of something that you need all along the way, like a dietary supplement, but you don't want to carry the 30 or 40-day supply the entire way. Or maybe you have some things you will want when you take a rest day in Burgos or León, but you won't need them the rest of the time. You can send these items to yourself at Lista de Correos in any city or town that has a post office, and then pick up your parcel and resend it to the next interim stop. Here's how that would work. When I get to Pamplona, I would visit the CORREOS office, buy a box, and send my extra items to, say, Burgos. Then, when I get to Burgos, I would visit the CORREOS office, reclaim my box, take out what I need, and then seal up the box and send it on to León. Then I would do the same thing when I got to León, sending the box on to, say, Santiago. Each time I send the box, I pay for the postage and storage at the next destination. The CORREOS office will hold the box for up to however many days I have paid for. Just be sure you are able to get to the CORREOS office in the next city or town during their opening hours. Now, there are a lot of details here, so I'm going to put a link in the notes for a page on my website that has all the CORREOS and luggage transport information. Now we are at step 7 in this 7-step process of getting to know the luggage transport services. Step number 7 is know yourself. Some say there is a right way to do the pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela, and it requires pilgrims to carry their backpacks themselves every step of the way. Others would go a step further and say that transporting your backpack or suitcase is actually cheating. What a notion! Still others would argue that transporting your bag each day robs you of the joy of spontaneity and the freedom of walking until you feel tired and only then stopping for the day. The truth is, there are no rules. There is no one way to do the Camino. But there is a difference between the experiences of carrying a backpack and transporting a bag. I carried my backpack for the first 7 years I walked the Camino, and I am so grateful I did. There are some wonderful lessons to be learned by tuning your day-to-day existence to that level of simplicity. The concept of freedom takes on a new, deeper meaning when you walk day after day with only and exactly what you need to exist strapped to your back. Is using the luggage transport service the right way to go for you? If yes, then do it and enjoy the freedom of lightness as you walk the trail. Good way, dear pilgrim. And now let's get to this episode's top tip. Daily withdrawal limits. Huh? So we are switching gears completely because this one is for your bank account, and it will help ensure you always have access to the cash you need as you walk the Camino. Every bank sets limits for how much customers can withdraw from an ATM in a single day. In the U.S., the default is usually $300 to $500 for each debit card. This protects you from having your account emptied if someone with ill intent gets a hold of your card. However, on the Camino, the lower withdrawal limits could trip you up. To know if this might be a problem for you, you will need to check your daily withdrawal limit and the current conversion rate of your home currency to euros. For example, as I'm writing this, 300 euros converts to approximately 350 US dollars. If I want to withdraw 300 euros and my daily withdrawal limit is $300, the transaction will be declined. To prevent this from happening to you while on the Camino, you can either withdraw a smaller amount at a time or contact your bank and request they raise your daily withdrawal limit. I recommend the latter, as there may be times, such as if there is an emergency, when you need to withdraw more cash in one day. Panic averted. Okay, dear pilgrims, that's it for this episode. Until next time, bye for now.